Good evening. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been ages since I've put any long form content out. I've been mostly posting shorts, so you've probably seen those, but I thought it was about time that I'd try and get back into this long form content because we're coming into a really important part of our season. Like, massive time in our season. We are currently 6 points from safety. We've got 14 games left. Is the Great Escape possible? Again, I do believe that it is, but it's got to start with a huge game against Burnley at the weekend. And we're going to talk about that game in a little bit. But first, I got reminded today of the Great Escape of the 06-07 season. It was Carlos Tevez' birthday. West Ham posted a video of that goal that he scored against Manchester United at Old Trafford that sealed the Great Escape that season. And it reminded me, like, what an incredible achievement that was that season. Because on the 29th game that we played that season, we played Tottenham. We lost 4-3, but we put in a really good performance. And that was when Carlos Tevez really started to show his ability and his talent. He got a goal in that game and it was absolutely fantastic. And at that point, after that loss, we were sitting bottom and we only had 20 points and we were 10 points from safety. Or even Man City was sitting in 17 from 30 points. We looked done. It looked like it was over. Like, with 9 games left, 10 points adrift, no hope. But then we go proceed to win 7 of our next 9 games. Carlos Tevez scoring 7 goals and getting 3 assists in that run of like 10 games, including the Tottenham one. And we ended the season in 15th on 41 points. It was just absolutely incredible. And it just reminded me that if we could do that, then it's not over this season. It's not over because, yeah, no, we're sitting on 20 points now. 20 points now. That's more points than we had that season. We got 14 games left. We're only 6 points clear. So if we can overcome a 10-point deficit with 9 games to go, we can most definitely overcome a 6-point deficit with 14 games to go. We 100% can, but we do need to get those wins. And it's got to start with a win against Burnley this weekend, which is a huge game, not just for us, but for them as well. I think it's more of a 6-pointer for them because if they lose it, they're done. I think they're done already. But if they lose it, they've got no chance of even catching us, let alone any other teams above us. So, yeah, this is going to be a huge game for them, but it's also a huge game for us because we need the win, we need the points, we need to keep on putting pressure on the teams above us. But they're going to be really up for it, and if they do somehow get a win against us, that is going to give them a confidence boost and give them a little bit of belief, which is not necessarily good for us. So, yeah, huge game. We need the win, we need the points. I am concerned about the game, because it is a potential banana skin. It is. I know we beat him earlier this season, but I keep on getting flashbacks of the Wolves game. We went into that game. There had been something like 24 games without a win. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then they smashed us 3-0. And at the moment, Burnley are on a bit of a barren run themselves, and that concerns me. It does. It does. But I also know that if we can put in a performance like we did against Tottenham or Sunderland or in the first half against Chelsea, then we should be too much for them and we should be walking away from that game with 3 points. We should. But at the end of the day, anything could happen. And as this is West Ham, we just don't know what West Ham team is going to turn up. We don't know what decisions Nuno is going to make during the game. So, yeah, all these things are 100% a concern. Now, when it comes to who's going to be starting, obviously we're going to be without Todibo after him getting sent off against Chelsea. A bit of a silly decision by him, and we're going to be missing him for this game, the Man United game and the Burton game, which means that Max Kilman is probably going to be coming up into the starting lineup, which, yeah, is a little bit of a worry given his performances recently. But I've been thinking about Max recently, and I kind of feel like maybe the criticism of him may have been a little bit harsh and may not be the best thing for him. I see it quite a lot. People saying, "Oh, we never want to see Max play again. I wish we sold him. We should make sure he's never in the squad," and things like that. And you see things like that, and you just wonder if he sees things like that, how is that going to help his confidence? Because he is a confidence player. He is very much a confidence player. When his confidence is high, he puts in better performances, and he looks a much better player. But at the moment, his confidence has taken a massive hit because of some of the performances, because of the form of the team. All this has impacted his confidence, but it doesn't mean that he's still not a good player, because he is. Like, you don't spend so long in the Premier League being chosen by manager after manager after manager if you're a bad player. You don't. And we've seen how good that, Max can be. But because of his lack of confidence at the moment, he is struggling. And I don't think that, like, us fans have helped it. I mean, I stand by anything I've said when it comes to his performances, but maybe saying things like, "Oh, I wish he'd been sold," or, I never want to see him in the starting lineup. I feel like that's probably been a little bit too harsh, and it doesn't help him out. And at the end of the day, whether you agree with it or not, he's probably going to be in the starting lineup over the next 3 games, and he needs our support. He needs our support. He needs our backing, just like every other player. So, hopefully we don't hear any boos for him. I don't agree with that, by the way. Booing him before he even comes onto the pitch. I wasn't pleased to see him come onto the pitch in the game the other week at the London Stadium and hearing people boo. I didn't agree with that, because it doesn't help him out at all. So, hopefully, like, the fans can get behind him, and you never know, he could put in a really good performance against Burnley. We could keep a clean sheet, and that could help him start to build that confidence back up. So, hopefully that is something that happens. Now, when it comes to the rest of the team, I think we're going to see a very similar lineup. I would definitely go with a similar lineup to what we saw against Chelsea. Obviously, it'll probably be Kilman coming into the back, and I would consider putting Scholes back in as well. Juve was questionable defensively against Chelsea, and Scholes definitely has looked quite good defensively when he has played this season. Although I feel like Juve offers more going forward, Scholes may be the better option. So I do wonder if that's something that Nuno would consider. And talking about Nuno, I mentioned briefly earlier about, we don't know what decisions Nuno is going to make. And I really hope that he is starting to see, that putting a centre-back on for a striker to defend the lead, it just hasn't been working this season. It just hasn't. So I'm hoping that if we are in a similar position at some point at the weekend against Burnley, he doesn't make the same mistake, and instead tries to make a more positive substitution to, help us push on and try and get another goal, or, dominate the midfield a little bit more. That's the decision I felt like he should have made against Chelsea. Instead of putting a defender on for Pablo, he should have put another midfielder on, because we were being overrun in the midfield. We've got Potts, we've got Magassa, we've got young players who've got a lot of energy, and that's what we need in this team. We need energy, because we play a very high press game when we are looking for a goal. And that obviously does take up a lot of energy. So when the players that are doing that do tend to tire, you need other players to come on and do that. And, like, as I say, Potts, Magassa, Traore, they are all players that can do that. So, hopefully we see Nuno make some better decisions in not just the game against Burnley this weekend, but in the remaining games this season, because, I'm tired of seeing us drop points from winning positions. We cannot continue to do that. We really can't. But, comes to this game against Burnley, I'm nervous, just like I've been nervous about every single game so far this season, and I will be nervous about every single game from now until the end of the season, because I just know how massive each game is. And hopefully we can, get that win, get those 3 points, and continue to put pressure on the teams above us, because I do feel like we can catch some of the teams. I'm not sure we're going to catch Nottingham Forest. I feel like Sean Dyche has got them playing quite well, and they're going to pick up points. And I do reckon that they will pick up a win against Leeds tomorrow. And Leeds are one of those teams that I think we can catch, and Crystal Palace as well. Keep an eye on them. I'd love it if Tottenham could drop in, but I don't think realistically that's going to happen. So, there's other teams that are going to drop points. There's teams that we can catch, but we need to get those wins first. And it's got to start in our game against Burnley this weekend. And I believe that if we play to the best of our ability and we put in a similar performance to the one we put in against Tottenham or Sunderland, or in the first half against Chelsea, we should be too much for them. And hopefully we will pick up those points. And that will lead us to yet another great escape. That's what I'm hoping. So, as per usual, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And for more West Ham United content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.